Please go subscribe to the Rumble channel for Franchise Sports TV under the name FSTV22. Now, I'm using that Rumble channel for any purposes of me getting kicked off YouTube and also for more of my spicier joints. It's free as well. I have the freedom to say whatever I want to say as well. So go subscribe to FSTV22. That is Franchise Sports TV 22 on Rumble. What up, YouTube? Franchise Sports TV back again with another video. I'm going to continue on with this 3-part series on basically at this point in time the 3 finals runs that the Bucks have been a part of. So I did the 1970-1971 when they won it all for the first time. I think it's the fastest a franchise has won a title in all sports, I think. It only took them 3 seasons to do it. So we continue on with the 1973-1974 season. Now, the Bucks finished the 1971 and 1972 season 63-19, finishing first in the Midwest Division, but they would finish second in the Western Conference behind the Los Angeles Lakers. They lost in 6 games to the same Lakers, who included Wilt and Jerry West. They lost to the same Lakers who would eventually win it all. But Kareem did average 34.6 points per game, 16 rebounds a game in that season. Skip to the next season. The Bucks finished yet again in disappointment, losing to the Golden State Warriors 4-2 in the semifinals. I do say this, maybe drafting Dr. J and being able to keep him could have made the difference this season, but the next season, the 1973-74 season, will be a little bit different, and definitely the Bucks could have used Dr. J this season. The Bucks went into the All-Star weekend with a record of 49-18, but they struggled during the month of February, going 9-7. But rebounding in March, finishing with a record of 59-23, short of a third consecutive 60-win season. Kareem did finish this season as an MVP on the first all-defensive team, all-NBA first team, as well as an all-star. I think the Bucks finished 8th in defense allowed. I think it was 8th in points allowed. They was 8th in offense, and also they was holding opponents to 99 points a game as well. I think I read that right. Going into this playoffs, actually finished this playoffs, Kareem actually led in the playoffs in points, rebounds as well, and win shares, as Oscar leading in playoffs and assists. So just a little insight of that coming up. But the Bucks would start up their 1974 playoff campaign with their Western Conference nemesis. Yes, the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, the Lakers was pretty much the nemesis of the Bucks. This time around, there was no Wilt, but there was still Jerry West, who was on his last leg and would retire at the conclusion of their season. And they also had Connie Hawkins as well as Gail Goodrich as well, Pat Riley. But the Lakers were a shell of themselves compared to the previous seasons as champions as well. The Bucks finished the regular season as the Midwest Division champs, finished first in the West, had the number 1 overall seed in the NBA. But they had to start this playoff without their talents and scoring of Lucius Allen, who was lost for the season during the mid-March in a game against the Pistons in a terrible, weird knee injury. Just a side note, Lucius Allen has practically won it at the high school level, college level, because he went to school with Kareem at UCLA, and the NBA level as well. Just a little side note. But losing Lucius Allen would mean the Bucks would lose 17 points per game from him and 5 assists. I think he was the second leading scorer above. I think he was the third leading scorer behind Bobby Danders and Kareem. And he has also served at times as Oscar Robertson's backup. So this injury was crucial later on because Oscar Robertson at this time was not in his prime. He was well out of it by this time. And not just Lucius Allen, but injuries, just little dinky injuries just plagued the Bucks during the season. But they rolled to a 59-23 record. So no excuses. The Bucks in their semifinal matchup would beat the Lakers in the close one in Game 1, 99-95 in Milwaukee. And Game 2 wasn't even close for the Lakers, losing a score of 109-90. The series shifted to Inglewood, California, when the Lakers called a victory at a score of 98-96. But the Lakers just was not good enough to stop the dominance of Kareem and the Bucks. The Bucks winning the series 4-1. Kareem averaged 29 points that series. Next, it was their division mate, the Chicago Bulls, who arrived in Milwaukee fresh off beating the Detroit Pistons in the 7-game series. The Bulls were led by Norm Van Leer, Chet Walker, Bob Love, and future Utah coach Jerry Sloan. The Bulls squad was 54-28, but there was no match for their division rival, the number 1 seed. The Bucks swept the Bulls out the series, with Game 2 practically being the closest. Well, I couldn't even say that was even the closest game. Bulls almost had a chance to win. Almost don't count. They tried to make a comeback towards the end of that game, but the Bucks was just too much. The other games, forget about it. So the Bucks won the Western Conference again for a second and final time. Their opponent from the East in the finals would be the resurgent Boston Celtics. The Celtics were led by John Hondo Havlicek, Dave Collins, JoJo White, and many others, including Paul Cyrus and Lon Chaney. Not Lon Chaney. Lionel Chaney. Is it Lon Chaney? I'm so sorry. I've been doing movie stuff too. Anyways, their route to the finals was quite similar to Milwaukee's. They finished the season 56-26, first overall in the East, beating the Buffalo Braves, now known as the Los Angeles Clippers, 4-2. And in the conference finals, the Celtics met their rival, the New York Knicks, beating them 4-1. I think one game, Dave Collins had 28 and 22. Dave Collins will be crucial in the series against the Bucks. The Celtics will go on the road to play Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Arena, now known as, I want to call it the U.S. Cellular Arena, but I think it's known as the UW Milwaukee Panther Arena now. It's been a whole list of names. I don't think it's been named the U.S. Cellular Arena since I moved. But anyway, this is where Lucius Allen was missed. No backup. Like I said, Oscar was fading. And I imagine if they had Dr. J, I think the outcome would be a little bit different. History will be different. The Boston Celtics cruised to a Game 1 victory led by Hondo with 26 points, stifling the Milwaukee crowd, winning 98-93. Game 2, the Bucks bounced back, but they continued to struggle with Boston, who was just a tough, well-rounded team. The Bucks had to win this in overtime to score 105-96. But the story of injuries do continue to plague on. During this series, John McLaughlin, longtime Bucks play-by-play commentator as well, suffered a torn calf muscle, which is crucial. He continued to keep on playing. He wasn't the biggest scorer, but he was very crucial in schemes when Kareem was double-teamed by the opposing team. And Kareem would dump it to McLaughlin, who will make the defenders play by shooting these wild-ass shots from three-point, but there was no three-point line. But despite the injuries, the Bucks carried the hell on as the series went back and forth. Not one team in this series won 2 in a row. In Game 3, the Bucks would lose 95-83. Celtics just ran them off the court in Boston. But the Bucks bounced back in Game 4. They didn't play around, rushing out to a big lead, moving their rotation around, causing problems for JoJo White. I think his name was Mickey Davis. Is putting work on him. Celtics tried to make a run in the third quarter, but the Bucks were just cruise to I wouldn't say easy victory, but cruise to a Game 4 win of 97-89. Kareem was just too much for the Celtics down the end of the game. Now in Game 5, the dub went to the Celtics, spoiling the Bucks' hope for a lead in the series despite Kareem having 37-11. Bobby Damage did not have a good game. I think he went 5 for 25, 5 for 50. It was terrible from what I read. And like I said, Oscar was... He just wasn't it anymore. He just wasn't the Oscar that we saw during the 71 finals run, or even before that. In an exciting Game 6, as many call one of the best playoff games of all time, this game, as told by my own pops, that both teams was just out there just giving it all. No one wanted to lose, forced this game into 2 overtimes. It would take Dave Collins being fouled up because he did make it hard for Kareem. And Kareem will win the game with a hook shot over Henry Finkel, winning Game 6, forcing Game 7. Post-game interviews, yeah, they did do that back then. What was said by Kareem that the game-winning play was actually set for John McLaughlin, but Kareem took it away anyway, as he's quoted saying everyone was under pressure, so he just decided to do his legendary skyhook. But unfortunately, in Game 7, the Celtics started off strong in the half. Going into the half, the Bucks tried for another run in the second half, but the Celtics just wore Kareem and Oscar down. Final score 102-87 as the Celtics walked off the Milwaukee Arena court, finals champions for the 12th time. First time since the 68-69 season. I remember my dad said he was depressed. He really thought after that Game 6, the Bucks had it in the bag. And it kind of reminds me of Game 6 2 years ago with the Celtics and Bucks, when I thought the Bucks had it in the bag. Actually, it wasn't even Game 6. It was Game 5 when Drew Holiday made that block on Marcus Smart. I thought Game 6, the Bucks would go back to Milwaukee and end this and go play Miami. Did it happen? No. But like he said, he was depressed, like so many others in Milwaukee was depressed. They thought they would celebrate a second title for this new franchise, but no. The 1974-75 season will be the last season that Kareem would play with the Bucks. The Bucks finished the season 38-44. No Oscar, he retired after the finals. Kareem felt his lifestyle didn't fit Milwaukee, so he requested a trade that would send him to the city of Angels. But in return, actually I think it was a 3-team trade with New York as well. The Bucks received in that trade Junior Bridgman, the family, Brian Winters, Elmore Smith, and Dave Myers, that actually set up a new era of Bucks basketball. In the 1975-76 season, the Bucks returned to the playoffs, but lost to the Detroit Pistons in the Western Conference first round in 3 games. Just a side note, the 1975 playoffs would be actually the first time that the NBA would implicate the first round. I think it was the best of 4. Yeah, I think it was the best of 4 back then. Because 2 games to, you get sweep. Wait. Yeah, you would get sweep. I think it is. Well, anyways, moving on. I'm going to make this too long. The Bucks will become one of those teams that are always in the mix. Considered finals bound or finals contenders at times during the 80s, but they just couldn't get past the Sixers, Celtics, or even Pistons as they moved to the Eastern Conference in the 1980-1981 season. As we get to the 90s and 2000s, the Bucks were a dunce of a team, with the exception being the 2001 season, when he had a chance to get to the finals, but they was cheated by the refs in 7 games. Yeah, I said it. They was cheated by the refs in 7 games, not the Philadelphia 76ers. The Bucks would be first-round exits for a couple years, scattered years. But the Bucks wouldn't touch another conference finals until this man would arrive on the scene. So that's pretty much the 73-74 finals run. It's unfortunate. We could be talking 3 rings here if it wasn't for the Celtics just being the more dominant team towards the end. Sucks, but some of your old heads probably know the story, but some of these young people, these young whippersnappers younger than me, need to know their history. And that all these players want plumbers. But I'll be back with another video. And you know what's coming next.